Yep, because that hand's free. Now you can do whatever you want. So let's say you don't like the hand. Can you do the forearm? Tons of options.
I could do both. Yeah.
Primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary position, secondary, and tertiary options. You guys ever practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I'm told it's very similar. They're like, Robert, the way you're doing this, like this joint locks, man. You're putting people in joint locks with compressions. This stuff is like therapeutic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're completely mobilizing people and then like using that to your advantage. You're using the body against them. And sometimes there's an arm bar. How many versions of an arm bar are there in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Oh, dude, it's all over the place. Like they're masters at like joint mobility because they're trying to get people to tap out. Okay? Yeah. So I'll teach you a primary position, but then there's all these secondary and tertiary things because you're doing the main work with your hips. Then you add the arms. Then you got all these other options you could potentially do. Yeah.
Observations. Especially, let's see, how long have you been at therapy?
1 year.
And you may already know, a lot of times when you're working with low back, make sure you address the hamstrings.
Okay, okay.
Because they're normally tight.
So when somebody has low back pain, and I bring their leg up and over particularly, as I bring them over and it starts to mobilize through the lumbar, I'll often ask them, do you feel that in your back in that spot you have? And they're like, oh, that's it. That's exactly it. Then they let me do the low back work. Does it make sense? That's probably what you were saying that you do already. Yeah. Once they feel it in their low back, totally fine. But at first they're like, oh, why is he working my legs? Yeah. Dee Dee's holding on to the mat.
They'll be able to work on that. Maybe I could go here and hold you on
Okay,
a little
let me
bit.
practice this. They'll love it. They'll love it.
We're nearing the end. So, piriformis, who wants the next piece? She does.
I just don't want to. I don't want to cheat the
Brenda, correct?
Brenda. Yeah.
What Brenda does?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna work on her next.
Okay, I'm coming.
We move forward. Are you two done?
Finish me.
I know. I was like, I don't want to.
Mat work.
She's such a giver. She.
No.
Much more leeway for Allie to get on the table than me. Think about it. Do people care if Allie gets on the table? Now, you take them get a session with me, never met me before. I get up on the table, how they feel?
Well, there's them and then there's me. You know, I'd be like, go for it.
Energy stuff, power dynamics, like all sorts of stuff, because it's like I'm clashing with the culture, like kind of trying to expand. It's just something to keep in mind.
And so when you're on the floor, it seems a little more okay, doesn't it?
Partnership. Tag team. Expectations are also different. They look at the service differently.
Right.
The benefit is, so in my case, like a mat, I think you were talking about working on people, being able to demonstrate. I'm going to work on an event related to that with other therapists, by the way, is I can go into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu studio and throw down a mat, give away 30-minute sessions and go, hey, check this out. How many of those people then want to book a 3-hour session? And I can use the recording if I record it. I can ask them, listen, I'm happy to give you a 3-hour session at a slight discount for your first one to try it out. Would you be willing to leave me a great Google review if I substantially help you with your shoulder pain. They're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Do you have a set routine in your showers, or do you start specifically like where, let's just say, oh, would you, they might say, work
So
my shoulder first.
I would say the last 5 years particularly, it's completely improvisational. I literally have no idea what I'm going to do until you walk in and I go, what do you have problems with? And then based on what you tell me, I'm going to customize the session. The thing about it was I had enough moves, so to speak, where it was really fun and interesting for me. And then I got a chance to test it. What I did was the sequences that you see, intro tie, table tie, phase 1, phase 2, mostly came from my original teacher. It was the rudiments she taught me. But she did one very key thing. She was a Westerner, and she's like, Robert, go play. Meaning go improvise. Don't feel like, in other words, she was a little taller than me. And did I need to do it exactly the way she did it? No. She's like, you're a guy, you got different, you're a yoga teacher, you got all. So I
get the results or
results, and that was all. Oh, dude, every time I worked on you, it was like, was she better? Was she better? Was she better? Can we make it better? Can we make it more effective? Can we make it easier on my body? Can we make it more effective? I kept working at it, and then it was like, okay, deliver the sequences that the students can use, but continue to like break it open and record everything to show them how you were working. Because the students now that I've given them sequences are like, oh, but what do I do for shoulder pain? Which is its own like maybe specific sort of sequence. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let me get to work on you here, Brenda. Did I answer your question, by the way? Yeah. So hop up.
yeah.
Because I got it set up for this.
Okay.
So piriformis, gluteals, hamstrings, right?
Yes.
Do you have more right side or left side?
My left side's more stuck.
More stuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tends to be.
There we go. How's this right here?
Okay.
Okay. Now, what does this lengthen?
Hamstring.
Now, if I did this to her and she was draped, how would she feel?
Closed.
A little bit. I mean, I've done stuff like that before,
There's
but you
gonna
gotta
be
be
a
really
break.
careful.
They'll be covered, but there's
And there is draping for this, and I do not do it, nor shall I. It just, for me, what happened was, it felt like, and I'm a guy, so I had to like factor it in culturally. Like if she got a breeze, I was so nervous that she'd feel exposed. So for me, it was just easier to do it clothed. And then once I developed a rapport,
Tell you why they're not coming back.
yeah. Then once I developed a rapport with her, if I would need to do unclothed work, oh, it's fine. I'll be back in a minute. Just undress to your comfort level and get underneath the sheet. I'll be back in just a minute. It was a very easy transition. So when I bring her over like this, knee to opposite shoulder, piriformis. Piriformis is Latin. It means pear-shaped. Piriformis, form of a pear. See? Latin. Anatomy. So bring it over. What, do you think I'm showing off? No, don't worry. I only use that word at parties to impress women. Like, it's like, ooh, he spoke in Latin. Exactly. So when I come over now, I give you some shot put.
Yeah. It's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think the warm up we just did helped a lot.
And opened it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny how I feel it in here.
On the other side,
Yeah, like, it's like it's,
the pinch.
yeah.
Okay. So
That's still
I'm gonna
stretching though, right?
I'm gonna do something. So sometimes that little pinch in the front of the hip, I can't always tell, is it muscle or is it the bony structure of her acetabulum, which means in Latin, little vinegar cup. Acetabulum, little vinegar. What are you laughing at, Dee Dee? You making fun of me? I'm trying to educate these people. So the way that the femur sits in the acetabulum, they can have lax ligaments, shortened ligaments, tight muscles, long muscles, and different bony structures. Some people's acetabulum is really deep, some is really shallow, like a whole combination of issues, right? I don't know why she gets a pinch, but I'm going to bring her just a little further over lateral. And when I press there, do you get that pinch still? Okay, what if I go a little further? No pinch?
It's still there.
Still there? Okay. And I don't make any judgment. Is it too sharp? Is it uncomfortable when I press?
It's not so uncomfortable I can't go through the
Okay.
exercise.
And I just want to make sure it's comfortable for her because I don't know her hips. We haven't worked together before. So if I bring you up and over, how's that?
Fine, no pinch.
Okay. Now, how do I address compression to her piriformis and gluteals when she's on her back? When she's on her back. So could I come in? Could I come in right here? Oh no, that's old. We're gonna do the new version. How's this? How's that? So how's this right here?
Feels good.
How's that?
Really good.
Now a little more up or a little more down?
Yes.
Meaning both. I'll go just a little bit back and forth. So tell Massage Envy I still have one foot on the floor. Now, knees are like elbows on steroids.
You're just tucked up.
Knees are like elbows on steroids. Right there?
Yeah, James used to get on the table when I was face down and get both his knees and put them in my glutes and rock back
And
and
we're going to
forth.
probably show that as well. But I wanted to give you a different option here. If I bring you straight up and over, how's this? Now,
Ooh,
my hip,
getting a little lower.
yeah. So could I put my knee near the tailbone? Could I put my knee near piriformis?
Yes.
Could I put my knee near gluteus medius?
Yes.
Yes, a knee is an elbow on steroids. It'll go in all the same spots. I'm also doing what? I'm not pushing into the client. I'm
Rolling
receiving the client. I'm pulling her into my body. How's that?
Very good.
There we go. Now, how stressful is this to my hands? Who wants this when they see it?
Everybody. Always think.
Right there?
Yeah.
How's that?
Yes. Like better? It takes away a little bit. The knee doesn't feel like it needs to be back. And if you bend your knee, then you can like kind of do this and cheat. So if you keep that straight, it feels more therapeutic.
Now, I could also use the opposite leg. It's just a different, slightly, like biomechanics. You'll notice that I'm not stacked like this. I'm not stacked high. It's more like pigeon. It's more like pigeon pose. To make the opening, I'm just going to roll her up, and then I'm going to grab, and then roll her open.
And that goes lower.
It also depends on angle, positioning, leverage, all of that, right? Now, how would she feel if she was undraped and I put my knee on her bare buttocks? No, she's underneath the sheet. She's totally covered. And I roll her back and open onto my knee. No, that's the correct answer if you're in the West. Yes, that is the correct answer. Right here? Right there?
Oh,
How's this?
the best.
More medial or more lateral?
Medial.
That way? Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That don't matter to me. Knee up towards the shoulder or knee back and open, like lengthening the adductors?
When you go back like that, it just goes lower into my tush and it feels better, but
Yeah. And I go with what she says makes her feel better. Does it look like I'm working hard? Now, I can also, roll her. What would you say there?
I said that's so good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I'm going to roll her back and open. I could repeat that 2 or 3 times with like different legs. I don't want you to compromise your knees or your hips. When she's on me, you can even see the red on my leg right here. She basically is right there. It's a big part of my quad, basically, that she's sitting on. But like
a little bony, and so
a little bit.
it adds to
But
it.
how is it compared to an elbow?
It's more rounded. It's broader.
When I tell people that Thai massage is deeper than deep tissue, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that it's not that we're really applying more pressure. We're applying the same pressure with a much larger, broader surface. Why can people take more pressure when they do ashiatsu?
Same reason.
Bigger, broader surface area.
Size 10 feet, they're worth something now.
Yeah, yeah. You guys want to partner up and do that? The first primarily lengthens piriformis and the deep lateral rotators. The second one is a compression to those same structures. Thank you for letting me demonstrate.
That was awesome. Thank you.
You laughing at me, Dee Dee?
Always.
I feel mocked. That's a core goal of the teaching assistant. When they get comfortable enough to mock me in class, you win. You win.
It's just previous conversations just spark. Let's start with this.
Insider trade information. You got the gimpy side.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not true, that hurts. You are causing all kinds of issues on the side.
And give her feedback. Do you want the elbow or do you want broad forearm?
Broad forearm. Oh,
Okay.
what are you doing? Yeah, it feels
It looked like a little more elbow, but I was just checking in.
A little more elbow there.
Yeah.
yeah, it feels good though, I promise. Promise.
So when I did the shot put, the hamstring stretch to the leg, I was generally going knee to opposite shoulder. What happens if you go knee to same shoulder or bring them out wide and do lateral? It still stretches the hamstrings, it just changes the hip position. So you're a massage educator who teaches a discipline he is told is not massage and that no massage facility in Austin, much less the United States, would allow therapists to offer. Yay! Now you wonder why Robert drinks and is frustrated. And also got divorced.
There you go.
They're like, you're an asshole. I'm like, yeah, my ex-wife thought so too. Happens. Happens.
Okay, that's about as far as the stretch as I can get.
So next we did.
So if I need to move up or down from your way.
Okay. Trying to figure out which of these better. Alright. This is probably it. That's it.
Like it keeps rolling. You feel it rolling? Like maybe we're, yeah.
So if I can't use my knees for that, what else can I use?
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Towel?
Well, no, I'm gonna give you some quick options. Let me check real quick, just to see. Okay.
A little bit.
All right. So let's address this real quick. You can't use your knee.
Right, I tried.
I want you to be careful with your hands. Is it possible? And I'm gonna see right here. Is it possible to use your fist? Is that too much? Okay.
I can't close this finger.
And that's what I was concerned about.
Yeah, I can't close.
So, are you ready? And here's where things start to get more weird. I did not have a tennis ball. However, I had a handy dandy golf ball.
Oh, you get the golf ball. I got both.
Now, we'll see. This got some padding on it. How's that right there?
I hardly feel it. I love that stretch though, but not too much.
Is it too much with the tennis ball? I mean, the golf ball?
That's
She says she's not even feeling that.
Okay.
okay.
She's
You,
just,
you mainly feel it there. Let me see it real quick.
Okay, I'm feeling the golf ball. Yeah, that's perfect.
And it also depends on angle, and it depends on where the
Yeah.
golf ball is put.
Yeah.
Usually I'd use a tennis ball. I just didn't have one in my bag.
And that's okay.
The tennis ball's bigger, it's broader. I'll teach
And
this
it's a
stuff
little bit more flexible.
Givable.
too.
Yeah.
to clients to do to themselves. You're free to use that again, by the way, as long as I get my golf ball back when I'm done.
I do too. Talk to the clients about the golf ball all the time. Sorry, I'm trying to do it for you. Wow, it's fine.
Don't feel so.
This is my dominant hand, this is my dominant leg.
I have someone that works at a tennis club and she gives me like 200 every time I learn. Oh, I'd be happy to get you some. You betcha. Home with them. Yeah, yeah. I should have her circle. I wish I would let you go. Are you gonna text?
Yeah, don't worry. I think you get those 20 balls for $15. Do you know where Shreveport, Louisiana?
Yeah.
For 45 minutes west.
Oh, I know Jefferson. I went through there going to Houston.
Yes,
Yes,
you would
yes,
have
yes.
to go right
Oh,
yeah, right after
it's like Montana and you go south.
There's
Yeah.
Texarkana, Atlanta, Linden.
Okay, then I do know about
If you remember all this, this is what's in our book.
I need to be a
He's
friend.
swapped
Okay, that's what he did. All right. So many
And also,
issues.
I'm going to show you different ways of working the gluteals, probably from prone. So we'll talk about that as well.
I gotta tell you to stop giving.
Mat work.
Oh, yeah. Where am I going with this? What's the objective?
So the reason I would point out the mat work is I would wait till the students, it always happens the second half of the first day, they start getting on the table. And I go, you're doing mat work, you're doing mat work, you're doing mat work. So, because they always want to understand, like, what's the difference between a mat and a table? And a lot of it is just leverage, and you get a chance to use your legs and feet more. Once I broaden your sense of using your legs and feet, you don't want to have those tools taken away.
Wherever it falls.
Just
Leg day this week?
She liked a little higher up, she said, towards her coccyx.
Yep. Just have her in position. There you go.
Yeah.
Sure.
The tennis ball would probably be better. It'd be bigger.
Yeah, I got tons of those. That's good to know.
I have to duet my TikTok you posted. I just saw it a minute ago.
Duet your TikTok that I posted of you? Oh, okay.
Word that however you want. You know what I'm talking about.
I know you're duetting somebody's TikTok.
Yours that you put up.
Oh, I posted 6 of them. I don't know which one's which. I don't even remember.
Now I gotta give it. Do it.
And then you duet it and you go, Robert's Thai massage is not traditional. It is inauthentic. He is unprofessional. He curses excessively, and we do not like him. I'm going to show you how to do it better.
No anatomy.
And I go, oh, that's
Okay, I forgot what's
hilarious.
next.
did the hamstring. I forgot what
Knee
next.
under the glute.
Gluteals. So there you go. Create some space there. So I would prefer your hips are going this way. I want you to have your hips facing in so that you're like this.
Pigeon.
There you go. And you
So
could
I
use
can't,
either
like,
leg.
really sit down. You know.
You're going to have to use this leg to support.
Uh-huh.
So why can't you sit down? The mat's too high off the ground.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
2, 3. Kind of feel like
Give him feedback, Allie. Is it too much? Okay. So this is the high shelf. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If you're trying to give her pressure in the gluteals, I want you to be in pigeon.
Okay. So
'Cause
bring
this-
in. Okay.
And you're going to have to support yourself with this leg here.
Okay.
Now, give her feedback on that when she pulls you in. Now, wrap underneath her knee and hug her into your chest and pull her back and open. Now, also, you're very tall and you're a much shorter table. I think that might be changing some of the body mechanics.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, because it totally hurts all of this right here.
Because of the way it's stretching your quad?
Yes. And it's because the table's too short.
Well, the thing is, when I look at you, you're just about my height. This is kind of low for me. Like, I can make it work, but I would probably have a table a little bit higher. I demonstrated on that one. Yeah.
Just raise it so I can do this right here.
You can raise it up and see. Now, by the second day, here's what a lot of the therapists do. Remember I said you set the table at the height that you normally work. A lot of the therapists will take their table and drop it all the way down. Why? Because they want their mat closer to the ground. And I'm like, the lowest table setting is mat work. Yeah.
Do not like this one on the. My knees are tight. Perfect. Perfect. Hold right there. We did it. Perfect. So this is. I was trying to let you get used to. Or Robert,
I was trying to get some more.
Thank you. Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
Oh, that feels so good.
Still doing it wrong.
No. So it's not wrong. It's just different. What I think it is like this. It provides more of a shelf to pull her on.
Right.
But do you see how nothing can poke in? When I'm like this, it's more pointed and allows a more specific like compression to the gluteals. Is that okay on your quad?
It's still tight, but that's one of the reasons I'm taking this class is to make me more flexible.
We'll work on it. We also hadn't worked on quads yet. Matt, work. How's it going? Pressure's good?
Good. Now I'm gonna. Oh, looky there. You went a little bit further that time.
I'm not worried about it. If they want to come in my room and see if my foot's still on the ground, then I guess they can.
Good?
I was gonna say, how would they know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
Am I doing it right, Roger?
How's it feel?
I'm doing better.
How does it feel? Intense?
No.
Sharp?
Feels good.
Pointed?
Like it's working.
Now, here's the difference. You work on a 300-pound guy and do this. It feels deeper to him because he weighs more. You're stacking his body weight.
Well, I was just thinking that when you were working.
You're using his body against him
That's right.
because you're receiving the client instead of pushing in. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically, you wouldn't go down that way. Back up. And then.
You would know?
No, you're fine.
How's it feel? Is it too much on your legs or anything? When you do it, just make sure it is absolutely imperative that it feel comfortable for your body. Don't compromise and like do something that feels off. I can usually help you switch it, change it in some way that's going to work.
I know, exactly.
Do everything.
He's not showing today.
Okay, I'm gonna do that with you.
I noticed a little cover. Have a Korean bathhouse. Alice.
Oh man, I can't wait till post-COVID and get a crew and go.
I know, I'm ready.
Dude, I told the apprentices, I'm like, I'm gonna get you and a handful of friends, and like I'm gonna foot part of the bill and rent a van, and we'll just pile in and go. It's like have like a big party.
Stop by and pick me up.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll meet you there.
You live closer.
I know. I'm only like 15 minutes with no traffic.
How's it on your knee?
That's good.
Good?
I mean, it is, I'm just tight.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
This is gonna be good for me because I can
Just
tell
stretch
it's-
yourself out. Work
I'm
yourself. That's
so
what.
lazy.
That's what
Like,
you're
you're
there.
So-
kidding me? I'm like,
Once
Oh.
you get good at working on them, then you get better at working on yourself and releasing all your tension.
And not
I mean,
worried
it's
about
doing it right now.
Because I get a chance to work on my own flexibility.
Yes.
You'll gain more strength in your legs and core. You'll gain more flexibility in your hips and your ankles. Very, very common.
I can't, when I do yoga, I can't sit back and be like,
Oh, dude,
I'm
my
working on it.
when students work on me, my hip and ankle mobility, they're like, dude, and I'm like, oh, I'm not normal anymore. Like I've been doing this for so many years. My hip and ankle mobility is off the charts for guys specifically.
So you can do the same thing here. Put it out or yeah. These. Right. Yeah.
So
There you
my
go.
inkling is to go higher, middle, and lower. But that's, staying middle is probably best.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Being a runner, I've done lots of things with my legs to try to make them. Sometimes you just make stuff up. Like I've even done it when I've been by myself and get in trouble. I'll do this.
So now this I'm
Try
not
to get
very
that
close
because
to you.
sometimes you can't. And I've done.
Why am I using anatomy?
Why are you what?
You might
Why
as
am I
well.
using anatomy? I don't like it.
You don't like anatomy? You eschew
I
anatomy?
hated kinesiology. I didn't study it.
I did pull up my transcripts recently, and when I graduated from the Baltimore School of Massage, the York campus in 2002, I hate to tell you guys, I got a B in anatomy. Has anybody ever asked? It's like, been working for 18 years. It's like just fix stuff. So, do we have a chance to give and receive? All right. So, who wants more gluteal work? You. She called it. She called it first. You want to flip over on your front for me?
Sure.
So in this case, I'm going to do this because we do have this, and this is kind of nice.
This table is higher on this end, is it?
It doesn't matter.
I'm sitting here thinking y'all are using that for traction right here.
So it's higher on one end than the other. Interesting. Interesting. Oh.
I'm like, what is up?
Hats of people. Look at these neck gaiters.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
Do it, let them see it, cause it looks so cool.
Oh, good.
If he's doing one, I think
So
he's good.
everybody comes in and we use our forearms and elbows. And particularly if somebody was already prone and she was underneath a sheet, like could I come in and use my forearm and elbows on top of the sheet?
Yeah.
Constantly. What about your knee? What about setting the table at a lower setting and using your knee? How's that? Now, why would I use my knee instead of my forearm and elbow?
Bring up your hand.
One or two?
Two. Do 2 fingers.
Oh, I couldn't see it. So this way.
Oh,
Right there?
Sorry, I forgot what 2 was.
One. There we go. Right there. Now my other hand is free. I'm just going to palm press along the back here. Now, you'll notice that my hip position is almost like lateral to my knee. So I'm leaning in over here. If I got up on the table, it would mean that my hip is stacked above my knee. So I'm just sinking down even deeper. Does it make sense? There's nothing wrong with just leaning in like over to the side. It's just not as much pressure. That's why Ashiatsu works. You put the person's body above the client so you can just use body weight to do the work for you. How's that? How's your rotator cuff right there? How's that right there? Oh yeah. How's your tricep over here? Oh, you sure? Oh no, it does feel pretty good. Over here, teres. Oh, right in there. Okay, thoracic paraspinals. How's that? Need a little more right there. How's that? How's that? Too much when I lift you? Okay. Right in there? Okay. So I'm gonna go for an edge that'll probably get you fired in most facilities, by the way. And you got to consider again like cultural context when you do stuff with people. How's this? Would I do this to someone draped?
no. I wouldn't. I have.
You would, Lisa?
If you were a
Well,
blind
I
person.
would like with
I
them, because I know them, but,
So,
you know, I know
If this
99%
version
I'm
is
fine.
too intimate, just do it from the side. You don't have to do this. How does this feel?
Even if they don't have their underwear. That's fine.
The clients are face down. They half the time don't even know what we're doing. Now, my hands are free.
Invasive, does it, Lisa?
I can press into the peroneals. I can press into the IT band. And I've got a nice forearm and elbow for...
Leaning.
We went from mobilization and stretching to compression with the knee to then compression with the elbow. Why did I go from knee to elbow instead of elbow to knee?
His knee is broader, it gets it warmed up, and then the elbow can be more specific.
General to specific, superficial to deep. You'll see that again and again and again. How's that right there? Doing good? Now it's nice because I've got this additional handle. If I need to move her and go, ooh, right there or right here. Oof, is that too much?
What if you lift up on that? That gets a little more.
Mobilizes the hips. I feel a little clunk right there. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do this. Can you just do the version that you guys already know, which was similar to me using the knee, moving the leg, but you use the forearm and elbow? Sure. If this doesn't work, just leave it out. I really like this. I think it's even more fun on a mat, but it's not for everybody. Does that make sense? Now, what about back? Hey, how's this? How's that across your back? Oh. Oh.
That's code for good.
Through there.
How do you do this on a mat? Your feet or your legs are just stretched out?
This is a mat, just a mat in the sky.
So to do like this?
Yeah. Sky mat.
Stretch me out everywhere.
And that's
Sky
what I
mat.
need,
I'm all like,
so
I can't even.
Sky mat.
I can do a lot of stuff.
It's also why classically I always wore shoes where I never laced them, because it allowed me to slide the shoes off and then get back down when necessary. Doing all right there? Then to exit, I'm going to lift her up and slide out and just bring her back to neutral. Do you guys want to try those? So knee first, then forearm and elbow. If you don't want to get on the table, I don't make any judgments about that at all. Maybe your mobility doesn't allow it. Maybe you're like, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. Like he's getting between people's legs. That's kind of weird. That's totally fine.
I think we can do this just like you suggested. Okay.
All right?
Totally fine.
Okay.
And once your hands, you're already playing secondary, tertiary, all that stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, I like that.
You don't like it, but don't you like it?
The table's in the way.
The table's in the way. It's a sky table.
But I just wanted to show her that you've done this. I know, I'm like, no, it's Lauren.
This is all backwards.
What's the matter?
Sky burial. That's how I want to go out. Sky burial. I want one of those Tibetan vultures to eat my bones.
There's that multi-point.
Sky burial. It's just so, it's so metal. It's something I could do listening to Pantera. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this.
You got a spot. Ouch.
How we doing pressure-wise? Is it okay? It feels comfortable to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I look like I'm alright?
No, I just checking in.
Okay.
It also looked like you were up on your toes, so I was just making sure that you're comfortable. And the reason you're doing that is the same thing with the ashi, like you were looking for more pressure.
Yeah.
Like for this is where the students start dropping the table super, super low because they're trying to get more leverage. Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to get my knee up. Trying to always visualize what it looks like.
So I'll take a nice graphic of me, like teaching in class, like a nice photo. And then I'll take Canva and put text on it. And I'll say something like, many of my students like to drop their table to its lowest setting. The lowest setting possible is a mat. And you post that, and massage therapists are like, but why do people respond to memes?
I don't know, 'cause
I have noticed that
Going slow for you.
whenever we take our pressure off, we should,
you did.
Slowly.
yeah.
Deep compressions, if you can, release slowly. It feels like the tissue recoils if we jump out. And thank you for bringing that up. This in between the legs, by the way, is very classic Thai massage. Very classic Thai massage, like just constantly seen.
It was kind of pressed.
And Allie's like, what is this weird contraption?